something like, "You'll never be me, don't ever think that you'll be me," and something like that.
I said that?
Yes.
I can't think, that's something, I'm not that, I'm very much in the, I'm very much, I know the person that I am, and I'm not someone to go and give myself away and say that to anybody. I've never said that in my life. So, but if that's what you remember, I accept that, but it's not, doesn't sound like me.
You're listening. Do not entertain none of this nonsense and nothing over the phone. I'm gonna need you to get rid of all the leftover pizza boxes. The what? All the boxes left over from the pizza. All the boxes. Okay. Make sure you recycle the plastic like we talked about. Yeah. Did Jay reach out yet? Nah, Bob. He ghosting. What's this motherfucker doing?
What do you think she gets out of it?
Well, she gets money. When you bring models or people that can easily be manipulated, you get funded. You get funded. She owns, how does she own an island being a supermodel?
I didn't know she owns an island.
Yeah, she owns an island. But this is crime scene investigation.
Yeah.
But it opens your eyes to things that you never even thought of, you know, and I connect all the dots. So one of my best friends, she's not here today. She was human trafficked by Naomi Campbell. And Naomi is also Diddy's the godmother. So she started meeting with all these famous people, and they connected her with certain people, and then all of a sudden she's at these parties and I see she's doing drugs and getting out of control, and eventually I had to start rescuing her from parties, and then a few of the times I had to rescue her from Naomi Campbell's apartment, sleep over, and then I would pick her up.
I think that in 5 years people will still be saying she's a bitch. I hope so. I hope they do.
Not on my level, Nicole. Longer. You never will be on my level. Don't
shorten your
compare
dress. They would
yourself
never
to me.
Naomi Campbell is now facing serious heat over her alleged connections to Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein, and the twist has people stunned. Reports claim that some of the evidence authorities are looking at was supposedly handed over by Diddy himself, which makes this whole situation even more dramatic. For years, many thought the only questionable thing tied to her name was that charity scandal people kept whispering about, the one critics said didn't add up. Now it looks like that might have just been the surface of something much bigger and way more complicated. Sources are also alleging that women from Africa were brought into Europe under promises of modeling opportunities, but instead found themselves in troubling and exploitative situations. Some reports even suggest that not everyone involved was of full age, which makes the accusations extremely serious and disturbing. These are allegations, but they've sparked loud conversations everywhere. When the Epstein files were released weeks ago, a wave of famous names came out, and the public started looking at celebrities in a very different light. And to the shock of absolutely no one watching closely, Naomi Campbell's name appeared in those documents too. Critics say she has a pattern of aligning herself with powerful men who later end up surrounded by scandal, then claiming she had no idea what was happening behind the scenes. It's a move people say they've seen before. But this time, the public mood feels different. People aren't just brushing it off or letting it slide. According to Department of Justice documents, Naomi was reportedly present on Epstein's private island, and her name appeared on several flight logs tied to his jet. One report claims she took 5 trips on the so-called Lolita Express between 2001 and 2003. 2 of those flights allegedly began in the U.S. Virgin Islands, where Epstein owned his now infamous property known for elite gatherings and secretive parties. That paper trail has only made the spotlight brighter. Some of those flights weren't just random trips either. A few were headed straight to the Sao Paulo, Brazil area, which only added more questions. On top of that, Jeffrey was reportedly spotted at several Victoria's Secret fashion shows, and insiders claim the two were often seen leaving around the same time. That kind of timing has people raising eyebrows. Naomi has insisted she didn't know Epstein at all, saying she had never even heard about him until her ex-boyfriend, Flavio Briatore, introduced them at her 31st birthday party back in 2001. That's the version she's standing on, but critics say they've heard this story before. Every time her name pops up next to a powerful man with a messy reputation, she denies knowing anything about what was going on behind the scenes. That pattern is exactly why many people weren't surprised to see her shut it down again. For someone who claims she's unaware of these men's actions, she always seems to be right there in the mix, moving in the same elite circles and attending the same private events. That's what keeps the spotlight locked on her. And it doesn't stop there. When her name was previously linked to Harvey Weinstein, she reportedly used a similar defense, distancing herself from any knowledge of wrongdoing. Now, with the recently released Epstein documents back in public discussion, things feel even heavier. Even though she stated in interviews that she had no idea about his crimes, reports say there were emails in the files suggesting she and Epstein were in contact and discussing plans that involved her presence at certain gatherings. The tone of those messages, according to observers, sounded unusually eager. To make matters worse, another model has recently come forward accusing Naomi of not being truthful about the entire situation, which has only intensified the controversy surrounding her. Several old videos have resurfaced showing Naomi reportedly inviting young women to join what was presented as modeling opportunities. But critics pointed out that none of those women were later seen walking major runways. That detail alone has people asking serious questions. There's no confirmed record of what happened to many of them, and that uncertainty has fueled even more speculation online. Clips of her in Kenya doing charity work to support children have also come back into circulation, and now some viewers are looking at those moments with fresh suspicion instead of praise. The conversation intensified when a video of American-based Kenyan influencer Elsa Majimbo started making the rounds. In that clip, Elsa spoke about being brought into Naomi's circle and allegedly being introduced to wealthy older men with the suggestion that she should consider dating them. According to Elsa, she quickly realized the situation wasn't for her and made it clear she wasn't interested. After that, she claimed doors in the industry suddenly started closing on her. At the time, Elsa was 19 years old and just beginning her career, which made the story hit even harder for people watching from the outside. And this isn't the only powerful figure Naomi has been linked to over the years. Back in 2010, she was called to testify in court during the trial of former Liberian President Charles Taylor. The case centered around allegations that he had given her so-called blood diamonds while she was staying at Nelson Mandela's home in South Africa. That testimony dragged her name into yet another international controversy. Charles Taylor was arrested in 2006, facing serious charges for arming Sierra Leone's Revolutionary United Front rebels. Between 1991 and 2002, during the brutal civil war, he reportedly trained and directed rebels who carried out horrifying attacks on civilians, often mutilating people by cutting off hands and legs. While committing all of these atrocities, Taylor also managed to get his hands on massive resources, including the diamonds that eventually ended up in Naomi Campbell's possession. That connection alone sent shockwaves through the public when it came out. At first, when Naomi was asked about the situation, she flat out denied everything and even walked out of the interview, leaving reporters stunned. But things changed when she was formally summoned to court. Under questioning, Naomi admitted she had received diamonds from Charles Taylor, but claimed they were handed to her in the middle of the night by two random men who just showed up at her place. She insisted she didn't keep the diamonds and said she had donated them to charity. That story, if true, painted her as completely innocent, but people weren't buying it. According to her former assistant, Carol White, and actress Mia Farrow, both of whom were with Naomi during the trip, the reality was very different. They reportedly said Naomi knew exactly where the diamonds came from and that she happily accepted them. That revelation has left the public questioning Naomi's credibility and motives, showing yet another side of her life entangled with powerful, controversial figures. Carol White claimed Naomi was all over Charles Taylor the entire night, and when she got the diamonds, she was reportedly thrilled, even showing them off to Carol. But that's just one side of the story. There are also claims stretching back years about Naomi allegedly taking from charities and mistreating her staff between 1998 and 2009. Reports say she was convicted 11 times for physically attacking people who worked for her, a shocking pattern that many say shows a darker side to the supermodel. In 1998, her assistant Georgina Golans accused Naomi of choking her and even smacking her over the head with a phone after getting frustrated over delays at customs in a Canadian airport. Court documents obtained by Georgina's lawyer, Calvin Berry, reportedly claimed that Naomi grabbed Georgina by the throat, shook her, and left her collapsed on a sofa, trembling and crying. The images that come to mind are intense, and they added fuel to Naomi's already controversial reputation. Not long after, Naomi hired another assistant, Vanessa Frisbee, who also accused her of physical aggression. Vanessa claimed Naomi attacked her during a heated argument. Naomi denied these allegations and, in a twist, turned around and sued Vanessa, escalating the drama even further. And it doesn't stop there. Many might not know this because Naomi kept it buried for years, but just over a year ago, she was investigated for allegedly misusing millions of dollars. The money was supposed to go to her charity, but reports suggest she instead spent it on designer goods,
as y'all can
lavish
see,
trips, private jets, and other extravagant purchases. This string of allegations paints a picture of a life lived at the extreme, with some critics questioning whether her public persona matches the reality behind closed doors. And let's talk about that insane 25-bedroom eco-mansion shaped like the Eye of Horus that Naomi reportedly got from her ex, Russian billionaire Vladislav Dorota, for her 41st birthday. This wild-looking property has been tossed around a lot in the Epstein conversation, with some alleging that multiple victims may have been sent there. It's the kind of place that, according to rumors, the feds would never think to check first when digging into Epstein's activities, making it even creepier in people's eyes. But wait, it gets even more intense. After years of law enforcement apparently ruling Naomi out as a suspect, sources say they finally started digging deeper to figure out why she seems to constantly be tied to these shady men. And during that investigation, it's alleged that authorities stumbled upon prison phone calls made by Diddy that might incriminate Naomi. The exact details of these calls haven't been made public yet, but word on the street is that things aren't looking great for her. People are watching closely and the tension is real. Of course, the gossip didn't stop there. After the news about these calls broke, internet sleuths and investigators started digging into Naomi's history with Diddy to see if her connection with him ran as deep as it apparently did with Epstein. Fans, critics, and casual onlookers alike are all trying to piece together the puzzle. And the more they uncover, the more tangled Naomi's web seems. It's like every new report adds another layer to a story that just keeps getting bigger and more explosive. It looks like Naomi's connection with Diddy runs deep. Sources say she was showing up to every major party he hosted, including his 54th birthday bash in London and his album release celebrations. And let's be real, those events didn't exactly stay clean. Rumors of wild freak-offs at the after-parties have circulated for years, and Naomi was reportedly at both of them. Remember when Diddy actually flew out to London with Young Miami just to surprise Naomi with a cake for getting her PhD? That move had everyone talking. Now, here's the thing. Diddy doesn't usually go out of his way like that for just anyone. People are speculating that Naomi's ties to him go way beyond friendship, and some are even claiming she might be deeply involved in his shady operations. While the details aren't clear, whispers online suggest she could be running things behind the scenes, helping him with his alleged network, and connecting him with women. Whether or not that's true, the speculation alone has stirred up massive controversy. Naomi's history is full of questionable moves, and although she's slipped past scrutiny before, the public seems determined not to let her off this time. There's talk that this time she could lose everything: her career, her fortune, and maybe even face serious legal consequences. Critics point out that if you look at the Epstein files, it's shocking she still hung around Epstein after he pleaded guilty to soliciting sex from a minor, attending events with him, and even asking to charter his private plane. The pattern of associations has people asking, why did she keep putting herself in these situations, and what exactly was she involved in? And it doesn't stop there. Reports are now resurfacing that Naomi wasn't just casually hanging around these shady circles. Some insiders claim she actively helped smooth things over for Epstein and his network. People online are digging into flight logs, party guest lists, and old social media posts, and the picture that's emerging makes her look way more involved than she's ever admitted. Every connection she's had with high-profile men who later faced scandals is under a microscope, and the timing of some of these interactions has raised serious eyebrows. On top of that, whispers suggest that some of her past charity projects might have been used as a cover for these connections. The same way she was allegedly showing off diamonds from Charles Taylor, people are questioning whether other donations and events were as innocent as they seem. Critics are piecing together a narrative where Naomi is right at the center of a web of influence, power, and controversy. A far cry from the glamorous image most of the world has of her on the runway. Even former collaborators and insiders are now speaking up, claiming they noticed Naomi pushing young talent into circles they weren't ready for or didn't want to be in, at the request of influential figures. While nothing has been proven in court yet, The growing number of testimonies and documents makes this one of the most talked about celebrity controversies in recent memory. One thing is clear: the more the files and allegations surface, the harder it's going to be for Naomi to stay untouchable. Another person brought up Elsa Majimbo again, and it's wild. Remember how Elsa accused Naomi of pulling her into her circle and trying to set her up with multiple wealthy men? Elsa even shared how scared she was at the time, saying it drove her to lean on alcohol just to cope. She was only 19, just starting out, and people say she's never been the same since that experience. Those claims alone are enough to make anyone pause and think about how deep this drama really goes. And now, with the leaked prison phone calls from Diddy supposedly pointing fingers at Naomi, the gossip and speculation are reaching a fever pitch. Fans and critics alike are asking the same question: is Naomi Campbell next to face serious legal trouble? Some say she's been untouchable for years, but the combination of court documents, flight logs, insider testimony, and social media revelations is painting a very different picture. Whether or not she ends up arrested, the allegations are already shaping her legacy in a way nobody could have imagined back when she was just dominating runways. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think about Naomi Campbell allegedly being involved in all this mess? Do you think the leaked phone calls could finally put her behind bars, or will she somehow slip through once again? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Smash that like button if you want more updates on this story. Share this video with anyone following the scandal. And don't forget to subscribe for all the latest celebrity news and deep dives into these explosive controversies. The Naomi Campbell saga is far from over, and we're here to break it all down for you.